Good afternoon everyone, this is Chrissy. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me. First of all, let me start with thanking you all for your comments that you left me when I showed this book that I had created for keeping my 52 tags handmade challenge tags in. Now I've had a couple of questions, comments from people asking me some questions about how I made the book. So I'm just going to do a little video here of briefly going over how I put the book together. Vera asked me if I could answer some questions because she's had difficulty making fabric books. Well, I'm no expert, Vera, but and I don't do perfect either, so I do what works for me, and I do like my creations to have a rustic, tattered kind of a look about them, and this book has got that. So here goes. Vera's first question was, are the pages cut to different measurements? Well, in this book, yes, they are, because of the thickness of the book. If I'd had all the pages, well, originally I'd cut them all, you know, the same size, but they poked out the inner ones because the book's so thick, sort of, some of them poked out more than others. So what I ended up doing was, well, I'll show you the construction of my pages first, because Vera also asked me whether there was anything sandwiched between the pages, and yes, the answer to that is yes. I've just got some, you know, just some fabric here that's not really a page, but it's just to show you what I did. Two pieces of fabric cut together, and then I sandwiched between them this this is iron-on interfacing or batting, and it's sort of glued on one side, so I laid that down on my one layer of fabric, put the other layer over and ironed it. I won't do that because look at me pretending I'm ironing. I don't really want that to stick to it. But so then I had, how many pages have I got? 1, 2, 3. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4 layers. 4 layers. I had, for my book, I've got four layers of these laid on top of each other, and then when I folded it over like that, I cut a tiny slither off each layer as they went up, so that I hope that makes sense. Like, I've got the 4 layers here, so and just pretend there's nothing on them. So that's the outside one, which obviously has to be bigger than all the others to cover them. So I took a tiny slither off this edge, and a tiny slither off this one, and a tiny slither off this one, so that when I layered them all together, they, you know, this one was bigger, this one was slightly smaller, this one was slightly smaller than that, and this one was the smallest of all, so that when I close the book, they're reasonably, you know, they're not sticking out. I don't know if I'm telling you this clearly, but I hope you get the gist of what I mean. So after I'd done that, I stitched on my machine around, I've just machine stitched, let me go in a bit, I've just machine stitched around the edges of my pages, and you can see the interfacing in there, a little bit, yeah, and that gives the pages a little bit of body, and they're not too floppy. So what else did Vera ask me? How I sew the spine? Yes. And did I put something between the pages? Well, I've covered that. Yes, I do. This cover page, I did some hand embroidery around that, just a blanket stitch. And to sew the spine, all I did was, it was quite thick to go through the machine, but it went through fine, the 4 layers. So I sewed first of all a line down the center. Go back out a bit. I sewed that stitch down the center, and then just another row on either side of that, about, I think that's about 1 inch or 3/4 of an inch out on either side, and then that gave quite a, quite a nice spine, which I then just decorated with some more decorative stitching. So the book sort of has a natural spine to it. So that's really all there is to it. I don't think I can tell you anything else. Could I give her some steps how to do it? Well, I've done that. I put the interfacing between the pages, sewed the spine, and yes, definitely cut the pages, the 4 layers, each one slightly less than the one underneath it. So Vera, I hope that answers your questions. As I say, I'm no expert on giving these sorts of instructions, but that worked for me, and I'm quite happy with my book. This one, when I sewed that onto it, I didn't want that to show on the inside of here, so I think I just lightly hand stitched that on after I'd finished the book. I didn't sew it onto that first layer of fabric before I before I stitched the 2 fabrics together. I just tried to neatly hand stitch that on there afterwards. So I hope that's helpful, and thank you very much for asking, Vera, and good luck with your fabric books. Bye now.